In the kingdom of Aurelis, people feared many things: storms, wars, monsters, and dark forests. But there was one thing everyone feared most: the future, because nobody knew what tomorrow would bring. Except for one person, the Keeper of Tomorrows. According to legend, a mysterious clock tower stood at the edge of time itself. Inside lived an immortal keeper, and within that tower were stored every tomorrow that had ever been lost, forgotten futures, broken destinies, dreams that never came true. Most people believed it was only a story. Most people were wrong. 17-year-old Elara discovered this on the day her future disappeared. It happened at exactly midnight. The town clocks stopped, every single one, at the same moment. Every bell froze, every watch ceased ticking. Time itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, a silver envelope appeared on Elara's bedroom desk, an envelope that definitely had not been there before. Her name was written upon it in glowing silver ink. For Elara Ashwin. She stared, then carefully opened it. Inside was a single card, black, cold, ancient. Upon it were written 7 words: "Your tomorrow has been stolen." Silence. What? She turned the card over. More words appeared. "Come find it before sunrise." Then a map slowly drew itself across the paper, a path through forests, across rivers, toward a place she had never seen. At the very bottom appeared one final line: "The clock tower awaits." Outside her window, thunder rolled across a clear sky, and far beyond the mountains, a gigantic clock face suddenly appeared among the clouds. Its hands pointed to midnight. Neither moved, not even a little. The missing tomorrow. Elara should have stayed home. Any sensible person would have. Instead, she packed a lantern, a cloak, and enough courage to make several terrible decisions. Then she followed the map, through sleeping streets, across moonlit fields, into forests older than memory. The journey lasted hours. The deeper she traveled, the stranger the world became. Flowers bloomed backward, leaves fell upward, streams flowed toward their source. Time behaved strangely here, very strangely. Just before dawn, she reached a hill, and there it stood, the clock tower. It rose impossibly high into the clouds. Its enormous clock face glowed silver beneath the stars. Yet its hands remained frozen. Around the tower floated countless objects: broken pocket watches, rusty clocks, golden hourglasses, all suspended in midair, as though time had forgotten them. The tower door slowly opened, by itself, inviting her inside. The Keeper. The interior was vast, far larger than the tower should have allowed. Thousands of clocks lined the walls, millions, each ticking differently. Some moved quickly, some slowly, some backward. At the center stood a boy, about her age. Silver hair, silver eyes, a long dark coat covered in clockwork symbols. He looked up from a golden pocket watch, as though he'd been expecting her. "You're late." Elara blinked. Late? By 17 years. That wasn't an answer, and somehow felt like one. The boy closed the watch. Welcome, Elara, to the end of time. A chill ran down her spine. Who are you? The boy smiled faintly, a sad smile, the kind worn by someone carrying far too many years. My name is Cassian. A pause. I collect lost tomorrows. The clocks throughout the tower suddenly stopped. Every single one. Tick, tick, tick. Silence. Cassian's smile disappeared for the first time. He looked worried, very worried. That's impossible. What is? Cassian slowly looked upward, toward the highest floor of the tower, toward something unseen, something approaching. Then he whispered, "Someone stole tomorrow." The entire tower shook. A deafening crack echoed through the heavens. One of the giant clock hands outside snapped in half, and from somewhere above them, a voice echoed through the tower. Cold, ancient, hungry. At last. Cassian's face turned pale because he recognized the voice immediately. No, he found us. And high above the tower, a gigantic shadow moved across the frozen sky, a shadow large enough to swallow the future itself. The gigantic shadow moved across the frozen sky. Every clock inside the tower stopped. Every pendulum froze. Every ticking sound vanished. The silence felt wrong, as though reality itself had forgotten how to move forward. Elara looked up. "Who is that?" Cassian didn't answer immediately. His silver eyes remained fixed on the ceiling, on whatever was approaching. Then he whispered, "The thief of time." Lightning flashed outside. The tower shook again. A crack appeared across one of the giant clock faces for the first time in centuries. I thought he was gone. Who is he? Cassian closed his eyes. The reason this tower exists. That wasn't comforting, not even slightly. The Room of Lost Futures. Without warning, Cassian grabbed Elara's wrist. "Come on." "Where are we going?" "To find your tomorrow." The tower trembled violently. They ran, up spiral staircases, across floating bridges made from clockwork, past endless rooms filled with strange objects, broken calendars, forgotten birthdays, unwritten letters, entire shelves filled with futures that never happened. Eventually, they reached enormous golden doors. The words carved into them glowed softly. The Room of Lost Futures. Cassian pushed the doors open. Elara gasped. The room was endless. Inside floated millions of glass spheres, each containing a different future. Some showed kingdoms rising, others showed inventions, friendships, journeys, lives not yet lived, dreams not yet realized. What are these? Tomorrows. Cassian walked among them, every possible future. One sphere drifted towards Elara. Inside, she saw herself, older, standing aboard a magnificent airship, exploring distant lands, happy. The sphere suddenly cracked, then shattered. The future vanished, gone. Elara froze. What happened? Cassian's expression darkened. It's being stolen. One by one, more spheres began breaking, hundreds, thousands, entire futures disappearing into darkness. The room dimmed. The future itself was being erased. The missing piece. Cassian led her deeper into the chamber, towards a single empty pedestal. Unlike the others, this one contained nothing, Only a silver plaque, Elara Ashwin. Silence. That's mine? Cassian noted. Or it was. Elara stared at the empty space. Why would anyone steal my future? Cassian looked troubled. Very troubled.
Because your future shouldn't exist. The words hit like ice. What? According to time, he hesitated. You died 17 years ago. Silence. Absolute silence. No. Yes. That's impossible. Again with that word. Cassian sighed. I checked every timeline. Golden gears floated around him. Every version, every possibility, every future. In all of them, he looked directly at her. You died on the night you were born. The room suddenly felt colder, much colder. Then how am I here? That's what I've been trying to discover. Before Elara could respond, a deafening roar echoed through the tower. Not a roar of an animal, not a roar of a monster, a roar of collapsing centuries. The golden doors exploded inward. Darkness flooded the room. Every sphere shattered. Every future went dark. And from the shadows stepped a man. Tall, elegant, terrifying. His cloak appeared woven from midnight itself. His eyes contained no stars, no light, only endless blackness. Around him floated broken clock hands, rusted crowns, fragments of forgotten ages. The thief of time. Cassian. His voice echoed like dying echoes. You still protecting her? Cassian stepped in front of Elara. Immediately, instinctively. Leave. The thief smiled. You know I can't. His gaze shifted toward Elara. For the first time, and something surprising happened. He looked shocked. Not angry, not cruel. Shocked. As though seeing a ghost. No. The thief took a step backward. It can't be. Elara frowned. What? The thief stared at her, his expression slowly changing, from shock to disbelief to sorrow. You have her eyes. Silence. Whose eyes? The thief's voice became almost a whisper. The Queen of Tomorrow. Every clock in the tower suddenly began ticking, all at once. Thousands, millions, an impossible chorus. Cassian's face turned completely pale because he knew exactly what that meant. No. You remembered. The thief closed his eyes. For the first time, a single silver tear fell. I never forgot. The tower shook harder than ever before. Cracks raced across the walls. The frozen sky outside began breaking apart. And high above the tower, a gigantic golden clock hidden behind the stars slowly started moving again for the first time in 17 years. The gigantic golden clock began moving. For the first time in 17 years, its gears roared across the heavens. The stars trembled, the frozen sky cracked, and throughout the clock tower, every clock began ticking, faster, 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 as though time itself had finally awakened. Cassian looked horrified. No,
It's happening again! The thief of time never looked away from Elara. His dark eyes trembled, not with fear, with grief. Ancient grief. You look exactly like her. Elara stepped forward. Who was she? The answer came softly, almost lovingly. My wife. Silence. The words struck like lightning. Even Cassian froze. What? The thief closed his eyes. The Queen of Tomorrow. The tower suddenly filled with silver light. A hidden door appeared in the wall, ancient, golden, covered with countless clock symbols. Cassian immediately stepped forward. Don't open it! The thief smiled sadly. It's too late. The door opened by itself, and a memory emerged. 17 years earlier. The world vanished. Elara found herself standing inside a magnificent palace, a palace suspended among stars. Golden rivers of time flowed beneath crystal bridges. Countless clocks floated through the sky. Beautiful, impossible. At the center stood a woman, radiant, graceful, powerful. Her silver gown shimmered like moonlight, and her eyes were Elara's eyes, exactly. The Queen of Tomorrow. Beside her stood a younger version of the thief, only he wasn't called the thief then. He wore white robes, golden armor, and joy. Real joy, the kind that appears only when someone is deeply loved. They were happy, Elara whispered. Cassian nodded. Very. The memory continued. The queen laughed. The future itself seemed brighter around her. Flowers bloomed where she walked. Broken clocks repaired themselves. Entire futures flourished beneath her care. Because she was more than a queen. She was the keeper of tomorrow, the guardian of every future yet to come. Then the memory darkened. A storm appeared, a terrible storm. Not rain, not lightning, a storm of endings. Entire futures vanished, tomorrows collapsed, possibilities disappeared. The queen stared into the chaos and understood something terrible. It's coming. The younger thief frowned. What is? The queen looked towards the horizon, toward a darkness deeper than night. The end. Silence. Not death, not destruction. The end of all futures. The vision shook violently. Cassian looked away, because he knew what came next. The final choice. The queen stood atop the highest tower. A newborn child rested in her arms, a baby girl. Elara. The younger thief stared in confusion. What are you doing? Tears filled the queen's eyes. Saving tomorrow. Golden light erupted around the child. The rivers of time changed direction. The stars began moving backward. Reality itself bent. No! The younger thief rushed toward her. Don't! The queen smiled sadly. I have to. The baby glowed brighter, 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 until she became a star, a living star, a future given form. Elara isn't our daughter, the queen whispered. The younger thief froze. What? She's tomorrow. Silence. What do you mean? The queen's tears fell. Silver, beautiful, heartbreaking. I created her from every future that still survives. The truth echoed through the tower. She's hope itself, the last tomorrow. The younger thief looked horrified because he finally understood. If she exists, the queen nodded, the future survives. And if she dies, the The queen closed her eyes. Then nothing comes after today. The memory shattered. The truth. The clock tower returned. Elara could barely breathe. "I'm not real." The thief immediately shook his head. "No, you are. More real than any of us." Cassian nodded. "You're the future given life." The words felt impossible, yet somehow, deep inside, she knew they were true. It explained everything. Why her future had been stolen, why she should have died, why time itself seemed connected to her. Then the tower shook again, harder than ever before. A crack split the ceiling. Golden light poured through, and from beyond the stars came a sound that froze everyone, even the thief, even Cassian. A clock chime. One enormous chime, ancient, final. The thief's face turned pale. "No." "What's wrong?" Cassian stared upward, his silver eyes filled with fear. "The last clock." The tower trembled. Another chime echoed, louder, closer. "What is the last clock?" Neither answered immediately. Then the thief whispered, "The machine that ends time." Silence. It was never supposed to awaken. The stars outside began going dark. One by one, entire futures vanished from the sky. And far beyond the edge of reality, something colossal began turning. A clock larger than galaxies, a clock older than creation, a clock counting down to the final second. And at its center, a shadow slowly opened its eyes. The stars were disappearing, one by one. Entire constellations faded into darkness. Futures vanished from existence. Dreams unraveled. Possibilities died unborn. And somewhere beyond reality, the last clock continued ticking. Tick, tick, tick. Each sound echoed across the universe, like a heartbeat or a countdown. Cassian stared upward, his face pale. The thief of time looked even worse because he remembered. "We have to go." Elara looked toward him. "Where?" The answer came quietly. "To the end. The road beyond tomorrow." The highest floor of the clock tower opened. A silver staircase appeared. It stretched upward through the stars, past galaxies, past time itself, toward a place no living person had ever reached, the last clock. The three of them climbed, higher, higher, higher. As they ascended, reality grew stranger. Days drifted through space like leaves. Forgotten birthdays floated past them. Lost futures glimmered in the darkness. Entire civilizations existed for a moment, then vanished. The closer they came to the last clock, the weaker time became, until eventually they reached it, and Elara stopped breathing. The last clock. It was enormous, larger than worlds, larger than stars, larger than imagination. Its gears were galaxies, its pendulums were suns, its face stretched across eternity, and at its center sat a figure, alone, waiting, watching. A girl, about Elara's age. She wore black robes covered with silver numbers. Her eyes shone like dying stars, and tears ran endlessly down her face. Cassian froze. No. The thief closed his eyes, as if he had feared this all along. Who is she? The girl slowly looked up. My name is Nox. Her voice sounded tired, anciently tired, I am the last tomorrow. Silence. Elara frowned. That's impossible. Nox gave a sad smile. There used to be countless tomorrows. She touched one of the gigantic gears. Now, only 2 remain. The realization hit Elara instantly. Me. Nox nodded. And me. The clock groaned, a terrible metallic sound, like reality breaking. The builder of endings. Nox raised her hand. A memory appeared, older than the stars, older than time. The memory showed a man, a lonely man, sitting in darkness.
Before the universe existed, before beginnings, before stories, before hope, he was completely alone, and he was afraid, terribly afraid. "Who is that?" Nox answered softly. "The first clockmaker." The vision continued. The clockmaker created time, then futures, then possibilities, then worlds. Everything began, and for a while, he was happy. Because creation meant movement, growth, life, stories. Then one day, he realized something. Every story ended. Every future eventually reached its final page. Every star would someday fade. Every life would someday end. The clockmaker became obsessed, not with beginnings, with endings. Years became centuries, centuries became eternities, until eventually he built a machine, the last clock. A clock designed to count every possible future. And when the final future ended, the clock would stop. And so would everything else. The vision vanished. "He built his own fear," Elara whispered. Nox nodded. Tears continued falling from her eyes. "And now the clock believes its purpose must be fulfilled." The truth about the future. The gigantic gears turned, the stars dimmed, another future vanished. Nox looked toward Elara. "Do you know why your mother created you?" "To save tomorrow." "Yes." Nox smiled sadly. "And do you know why I exist?" Elara shook her head. Nox touched the last clock. "I was created to end it." Silence. Absolute silence. "What?" "I am every future that failed." The stars flickered around her. Every dream abandoned, every hope lost, every tomorrow that never happened. The realization hit Elara. Nox wasn't the enemy. She was sadness, disappointment, regret, all the futures that never came true. "I've been alone for so long," Nox whispered, "and I'm tired." For the first time, Elara understood. The future wasn't trying to destroy itself, it was giving up. The final countdown. The giant gears suddenly rang, a deafening chime, the loudest yet. The clock face changed. Numbers appeared. 00, 00, 10. 10 seconds. The countdown had begun. Cassian's eyes widened. "No!" 00, 00, 09. The stars began disappearing faster. 00, 00, 08. Entire futures shattered. 00, 00, 07.
The thief of time stepped forward, helpless for the first time in ages. 000006. Nox looked at Elara, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry." 000005. The universe trembled. 000004. Elara realized something. Something terrible. Something impossible. Nox wasn't the enemy. She was the key. 000002. The giant gears slowed. 000001. Nox smiled sadly. Goodbye. And the last clock prepared to strike its final chime. And Elara finally understood what she had to do.
The countdown reached its final second. The universe held its breath. Stars stopped shining. Galaxies froze. Time itself seemed afraid to move. Nox stood beside the last clock. Tears streamed down her face. The thief of time stared helplessly. Cassian's silver eyes widened, and Elara finally understood. The future wasn't ending because it had been defeated. The future was ending because it had lost hope. Nox wasn't destroying tomorrow. She had simply stopped believing tomorrow was worth saving. The last clock prepared its final chime, the sound that would end everything. Then Elara ran. "Wait!" Nox looked up, surprised. Why? The question echoed through eternity. Why stop it? Every dream eventually breaks. Every future eventually disappoints. Every hope eventually hurts. The last clock groaned. Its gears continued turning. Bum. The final chime began, a sound older than existence itself, and Elara embraced Nox. The chime stopped, halfway. Silence. Absolute silence. Nox froze. "What are you doing?" Elara's voice trembled. "You think you're every future that failed." She tightened her grip. "But that's not true. You're also proof those futures existed." The stars flickered, very faintly. A broken hope still changed someone. The clock's gears slowed. A tomorrow that never happened still inspired people to try. Light began returning. Tiny sparks, tiny possibilities, tiny futures. "You aren't the end of tomorrow," Elara smiled through tears. "You're part of it." For the first time in ages, Nox cried. Not tears of sorrow, tears of relief. Because no one had ever told her that before. No one had ever looked at failed futures and seen value, only loss, only regret, only endings. The future chooses. The last clock stopped moving, not because it had reached the end, because it no longer needed to. The gigantic machine began changing. The gears of galaxies transformed. The pendulums of suns glowed gold. The face of the clock cracked, and behind it, a door appeared. A golden door. The door of tomorrow. Nox stared at it. "What is that?" A voice answered, ancient, gentle. The voice of the first clockmaker. "A future." The stars brightened.
the ancient creator appeared. No longer afraid, no longer obsessed, just a tired old dreamer. I spent eternity fearing endings, he smiled sadly, and forgot the purpose of time. What is it? Elara asked. The clockmaker looked at the endless cosmos, then at Nox, then at Elara. To make room for another tomorrow. The golden door opened, and beyond it stretched infinite possibilities, infinite futures, infinite stories. Not predetermined, not guaranteed, possible. The Queen's gift. The stars suddenly shone brighter than ever before. A familiar silver light appeared. Warm, beautiful. The Queen of Tomorrow. Elara's mother, or perhaps the dream that had become her mother. She smiled proudly. You did it. Elara's eyes filled with tears. I missed you. The Queen touched her cheek. I was never gone. The stars around them glowed. Every tomorrow carried a piece of me. And now, she looked at both girls, the future belongs to you. The golden door faded, and beyond it stretched infinite possibilities, infinite futures, infinite stories. Not predetermined, not guaranteed, possible. 1 year later. The clock tower still stood at the edge of time, but it had changed. The frozen clocks now moved freely. The broken futures had been restored. New possibilities filled the halls. Cassian became the new keeper of tomorrows, though he insisted he still wasn't old enough for the job. The thief of time abandoned his old title, no longer stealing futures, now protecting them. And Nox, the girl made of failed futures, finally left the last clock. For the first time in her existence, she explored worlds, met people, created new memories, lived, really lived. As for Elara, she traveled across countless tomorrows, helping people believe in possibilities again, because she understood something few ever learned. The future was not a destination, it was a choice. And every sunrise was another chance to choose. Far beyond the stars, the last clock remained silent, no longer counting down, no longer measuring endings, simply keeping time, waiting patiently for the next tomorrow. Not every dream comes true, not every story ends happily. Some hopes break. Some futures fade, but even the tomorrows that never happen have value because they teach us to keep hoping, to keep trying, to keep imagining. The future is not something we find. The future is something we create. One choice, one dream, one tomorrow at a time.